This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party Live on a Travel Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining me, migrating from one show to the other. Tomorrow, Mark Thompson will serve his last day before his big vacation to Colombia, from which we sincerely hope he returns. But it's going to be a good show. John Rothman will be on the show. Also, Belinda Weymouth will be on the show. And I think there's one other guest we have as well, and I forgot who it is. But it's going to be a good show tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show at 11. And then, of course, we'll have our waterfalls for Wednesday and a really nice cool down. Where is the black hole located? Okay, let's jump in. Let's get right to the stories, because I have this black hole that burns with the light of 1 trillion suns. It's a really cool picture. Check it out. Things we wouldn't be able to see before technology. Whoa, look at that. That is super bright. Yeah, really cool. Sorry, let me take the comment off the screen. This black hole is pretty spectacular. It is a very distant black hole. So when you ask where it is, I'll just say it's distant. It is flaring as bright as 10 trillion suns. According to researchers, they have discovered this supermassive black hole flare, the largest ever seen in the universe. And the thinking is that it might be flaring like this because this black hole is making a meal of a huge star. The flare is 30 times more powerful than the previous most powerful active galactic nuclei transient. That's the scientific speak, according to a study published in the journal Nature Astronomy, where researchers say very few physical events in the universe can liberate this much electromagnetic energy. While most stars eventually explode into supernova before becoming black holes, it's believed that this massive star didn't make it that far, that it got a little too close to this enormous black hole, which gobbled it right up, tearing it into pieces. The object, first seen in 2018 by the Zwicky Transient Facility at the Caltech Palomar Observatory, as well as the Caltech-led Catalina Real-Time Transient Survey. They watched it for several months. The flare brightened by a factor of 40, and at its peak, it was 30 times more bright than any black hole flare ever seen before, and researchers describe it as having shone with the light of 10 trillion suns. So now when we say we hate something, we can say, I have the hatred of 10 trillion suns. Yeah. This supermassive black hole has a really sexy name. It's J2245 plus 3743. It's feeding off an active galactic nuclei or nucleus. It is estimated to be 500 million times larger than our sun and about 10 billion light years away. So there's the location for you. 10 billion light years away. I don't know in what direction. The researchers said this event likely happened when the universe was very young, based on the time it took the light to get to our solar system. The energetics show this object is very far away and very bright. The picture, unlike any that we've ever seen, according to the researchers, astronomers at Caltech, it's unlike anything we've seen before, but it's now fading, and they're still monitoring this flare. Time runs slower at the site of the flare compared to with our own experience of time. And the phenomenon is called cosmological time dilation due to a stretching of space and time. As the light travels across the expanding space to reach us, its wavelength stretches, as does time itself. Super trippy to me. In this case, 7 years here is 2 years there, so we're watching the event play back at a quarter speed. The J2245 plus 3743 black hole is still happening. It shows the star is not yet fully devoured. It's like a fish halfway down a whale's gullet, according to astronomers. It's super cool. So, speaking of the night sky, we've got some things going on in the month of November. There's your November supermoon. Last night I was looking up at the moon. It wasn't full, but it was beautiful. And the clouds had parted. You could see the moon kind of in a dark spot, and around it almost looked like a rainbow. Really, really beautiful. So, Wednesday, November 5th is this month's full moon. It's called the Beaver Supermoon. Insert joke here. Where's Heather? It'll reach its peak brightness at 8:19 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Wednesday, November 5th. It will be under the horizon for many United States viewers at its brightest moment, but you'll be able to catch a peek at it Tuesday evening into Wednesday evening, so tonight into tomorrow, when the moon will still appear full. Because the natural satellite's orbit around the Earth isn't perfectly circular, supermoons occur when a full moon coincides with the moon's perigee, its closest point to the planet in its orbit, about 226,000 miles away. So November's supermoon will be the second of 3 consecutive full supermoons this year. It'll also be this year's biggest, the closest supermoon of 2025. So it's worth checking out the moon tonight if you can. The supermoons, though, we haven't always loved them. The term supermoon was coined in 1979 when an astrologer from America used the term to describe a new or full moon taking place within 10% of its nearest point to Earth in its orbit. So, if we use that definition, we're experiencing 8 supermoons this year. 5 of them occurred earlier months, but the term is most often used to describe closer than usual full moons. Some people say it's hype to call things a supermoon. Nah. Some people might expect a much larger moon in the sky, even though the difference could be imperceptible to most people. So, according to NASA, a supermoon appears about 7% larger than the average full moon, 14% larger than a full moon at its most distant point. They say the supermoon might seem larger when it's closer to the horizon, but that's just an optical illusion. So, pretty cool. November's full Beaver Supermoon might not be this visually jaw-dropping astronomical event, but can still be worth venturing outside on a cold night to take a look. I say yes. You know what? We need anything to celebrate. So let's all pop our heads outside the window or the door tonight and look for the supermoon. And if you see it, send me a picture of what you saw. Please, I'd love to see your supermoon. Your beavers. Wait a minute. I'd love to see your supermoon, your Beaver Supermoon, but the one in the sky. You know what I'm saying. Don't send me anything naughty. All right. We'll move forward to this surprise sighting. What's this little guy? Hello. This is in New York, and this bird is not supposed to be there. So the birders of New York are kind of having a freak out moment. This bird was sighted on Long Island in New York, and now birders are all, you could say, flocking to this area. It's a common cuckoo. It's found from Europe to Japan. The majority of the population likes to winter in Africa, but this one was spotted in a town on the north shore of Long Island called Riverhead, about 75 miles from New York City. A golfer took this picture and sent it to his nephew, who loves birds. The information shared with the Cornell Lab of Ornithology in Ithaca, New York. And once the bird was confirmed as a common cuckoo, it started spreading all over the place. All the birder communities were sharing the picture back and forth. This bird has been spotted now more than 200 times by people who have noted their sightings on the bird site ebird.org and other social media sites, including the American Birding Association. So a lot of people in other parts of the US are making a special trip, hoping they can see this cuckoo for themselves. The last sighting was Sunday afternoon. They don't know how it ended up in New York or even if it's still there. They think it's a juvenile, so it likely hatched in the spring or summer. And they say it's reasonable to conclude it was trying to migrate for the winter, but somehow got lost or blown off course. And here it is. The common cuckoo has only been found 3 other times in the eastern US and Canada. They think the bird might still be in the area. If it has relocated, it might be unlikely that people will come across it again. So if they see it, the birders say, don't approach too closely for photos. Otherwise, they think it's fairly tolerant of people and traffic. Looks a lot like a small hawk, like the common Cooper's hawk. So you have to really know the difference between that and the cuckoo. But there it is, on Long Island, of all places. Speaking of animals, so sad that people still do this, but I'm so glad that they got caught. I mean, sad, but also good in this particular case. Endangered rhino horns, elephant tusks, seized in California. Who would buy that? Would you buy an elephant tusk knowing what happened and how they got it? Barf. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife recently broke up an alleged illegal poaching front in Los Angeles County. They say they seized thousands of elephant ivory pieces along with multiple large, intricately carved tusks. You can see here. They found a sea turtle shell and at least 9 rhinoceros horns confiscated from an unnamed business. The officials at the California Department of Fish and Wildlife say the global demand for ivory and rhino horn fuels poaching and organized crime. And these and other operations like it that put a stop to it send a clear message to black market vendors. I'm just so shocked. I thought we were past this. Maybe I'm looking at this through an American lens of, we know what's right. Most of us would never in a million years consider, if we saw something like this in a shop, we would not only not buy it, we would probably call it in, right? Now, despite global conservation efforts, poaching is one of the biggest threats to many endangered species. Illegal rhino hunting has increased significantly in recent years. An estimated 12,000 of the endangered animals in Africa have been killed since 2008. The statistics are worse for elephants. The World Wildlife Fund estimates poachers annually kill more than 20,000 African elephants for their tusks. It's unbelievable. Prices fluctuate in the unregulated market. 2.2 pounds of ivory can sell for well over $500. Researchers discovered a growing number of elephants are being born without tusks, which is interesting. So, I have some ivory in my house. I have an old piano from I want to say late 1800s. There's not much I can do about it. My grandparents had the piano. Then my mom had the piano, and now I have the piano. So, it is what it is, and I didn't pay for it. And certainly it was, in the family before anybody realized what was happening on the other side of the world. But now we know better. What is it saying? Is it Maya Angelou that said, if you know better, do better? We know better than that. Come on. They've still got these tusks and these animal parts that they're testing and confirming. We've got a law in California. We have a ban on ivory and rhino horn sales. Any horn sales, ivory or rhino horn sales, prohibited if they were harvested after 1977. Today, all sales are illegal. They can result in tens of thousands of dollars of fines. Throw the book at these people. Throw the book. We have a study that shows light pollution is connected to your heart health. That's not a connection I would have made. It's too bad, too, because sometimes light pollution is so beautiful. We're looking at a picture of the lights on the Bay Bridge right now. And it's gorgeous. You come up Broadway, you come down the hill, and as I used to to drive through the early morning hours at KGO, and the Bay Bridge lights are illuminating, and the waters of the bay, the light is glinting off. It's so, so pretty. Well, maybe not good for us. There's a study that links light pollution to your heart health. People exposed to high levels of artificial light, according to this study, have an increasingly higher risk of heart disease. The research, scheduled to be reported at a meeting of the American Heart Association in New Orleans on November 10th. What they found is that higher exposure to artificial light at night was associated with a 35% increased risk of heart disease within 5 years and a 22% increased risk over 10 years. The researchers at the Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston said they found a nearly linear relationship between nighttime light and heart disease. The more night light exposure, the higher the risk. They analyzed the health of 466 adults with an average age of 55 who'd undergone a PET scan or a CT scan between 2005 and 8. Then they compared the participants' health and brain scans to their exposure to artificial light based on their home address. And the results showed that the higher levels of artificial light caused brain stress activity and blood vessel inflammation. Even, they say, modest increases in nighttime light were linked with higher brain and artery stress. When the brain perceives stress, it activates signals that can trigger an immune response and inflame the blood vessels. And over time, the process can contribute to hardening of the arteries and increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. They said over a decade, 17% of the people developed a major heart condition, that the light exposure was associated with the risk of heart disease even after they accounted for other risk factors. The heart risks were higher among people who lived in areas with high traffic noise, lower neighborhood income, and other environmental factors that could add to stress. So what to do? They say limit indoor nighttime light, keep bedrooms dark, avoid screens like TVs and personal electronic devices before bed. Don't play Words with Friends before bed, which I think I'm playing Wes on Words with Friends, and I think he just beat me. Impressive, Wes. If it's you that I'm playing, because it has your last name, then well done. Congratulations. I salute you. The cities might also improve people's health if they cut unnecessary outdoor lighting at night, shield street lamps, or use motion-sensitive lights. The findings, they say, are new, and they add to the evidence suggesting reducing exposure to excessive artificial light at night is a public health concern. Is that weird? Sometimes it's the most random things. Perhaps it's more this. If you're exposed to artificial, this is my guess, okay, the why of it all. Perhaps if you're exposed to more artificial light, some people might not sleep as well. And perhaps it's the sleep that then affects your health. I don't know, just hazarding a guess. But interesting. Very, very interesting. Again, the full study is being presented at the American Heart Association in New Orleans. We'll wait for the full study to be published, and it is out of the Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. So, interesting. This sculpture is finally being returned after a long time away. Netherlands is returning a stolen ancient sculpture to Egypt. It's 3,500 years old. 3 years after this head turned up at an art fair, an exhibition, the head is being returned. The Prime Minister of the Netherlands was in Egypt for a 2-day visit that included the official grand opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum, which houses more than 100,000 artifacts, including the full contents of King Tut's tomb and his gold mask. We'll talk about that next. The treasure is set to be returned by the end of this year. It is a stone head of a high-ranking official from the dynasty of Pharaoh Thutmose III, about 3,500 years ago. The campaign solidified Egypt as one of the region's superpowers, according to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in Cairo. They think this object was stolen during the unrest of the Arab Spring in 2011 or 2012. It was offered for sale at a fair for visual arts and antiques and design in 2022 in the southern Netherlands, close to the borders with Belgium and Germany, in the city of Maastricht. Following an anonymous tip about the object's illegal origin, the dealer voluntarily relinquished the sculpture. Dutch police then, and the inspectorate, investigated the head's provenance, and they determined it was obtained through plunder and exported unlawfully. The value incalculable. I wonder what the price tag was on it when they were trying to sell it. The sculpture is deeply meaningful to Egypt's identity. And according to the Netherlands, they say they're committed nationally and internationally to ensuring the return of heritage to its original owners. Yeah. Not cool. Go and take these things and sell them. There's something so morally bankrupt about that, right? I got an email from Julie, and she writes, "Hi, Kim. On Global News, they had spectacular footage of the grand opening of the Egyptian Museum, fireworks and all, and 100,000 artifacts, including some from King Tut's tomb. 20 years to build this thing, $1.7 billion, and it's the world's largest archaeological museum." And she says, "I thought of you." Julie D., thank you for thinking of me. So let's take a look at it. This is the Giza Museum. Oh, it's pretty cool. It is, as Julie writes, big, really, really big, newly unveiled after 2 decades and more than $1 billion. The Grand Egyptian Museum opened its doors to the public just a few days after its official opening ceremony on Saturday. It is regarded as the world's largest archaeological facility for a single civilization. The museum is just about a little over a mile from the pyramids of Giza and 5 miles from the capital of Cairo. So there's the outside of it. And here is a picture of the inside. I mean, look at all the cool things. It's almost like you're walking into the inside of a pyramid or a tomb. Wow, look at all that stuff. Really cool. The complex spans 5,381,900 square feet. It'll house more than 100,000 ancient artifacts from the 30 dynasties of ancient Egypt. Some of the main attractions include the 3,200-year-old statue of King Ramses II, the complete collection of Tutankhamun's treasures, a 4,500-year-old boat, one of the oldest intact ships in the world, belonging to Khufu, the pharaoh renowned for building the Great Pyramid of Giza. The museum is being called the fourth pyramid of the Giza Plateau, which is home to 3 pyramids about 4,500 years old. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, the pyramid of Khafre, built for Pharaoh Khafre, and the pyramid of Menkaure, built for Pharaoh Menkaure. Visitors can view the pyramids from inside the museum, designed in the shape of a chamfered triangle, echoing the geometry of the pyramids. The museum's north and south walls are aligned with the pyramid of Khufu and the pyramid of Menkaure. The design was created by an Irish architecture firm. It's called Hennigan Peg. They used sand-colored concrete and translucent alabaster stone. The museum's main facade is made of frosted glass panels. It's cool looking. The complex was announced in 1992, but they didn't start building it until 2005. Then there was the Arab Spring in 2011, political turmoil that delayed everything. Then we had the pandemic. Some of the museum had a soft launch in 2024, but really the grand opening was very recent. The museum complex includes the main building and a conference center, a courtyard, a Nile Valley park, a Khufu boat museum, and a conservation center. And the minute you walk in, as you can see here, you're greeted by the 3,200-year-old statue of King Ramses II, weighs about 83 tons. From 1954 to 2006, that statue stood in Ramses Square in front of Cairo's main train station before it was relocated to near the museum. To facilitate the move, the statue is transported upright and in one piece on a specially designed 128-wheel vehicle, covering a distance of 19 miles. They had to shut down roads. It was a big to-do. The museum has 12 main permanent exhibition halls. They're arranged from prehistory through the Greco-Roman period. They have a section on society, on kingship, on belief. There's a Tutankhamun gallery. The largest exhibition space is the King Tut Gallery. It's 80,000 square feet with more than 5,000 artifacts unearthed from the tomb of Tutankhamun, the boy king. You can see his golden mask, throne, sarcophagus, chariots, jewelry, all presented to recreate the atmosphere of his royal burial chamber. There's another picture of the inside of the museum. So that's pretty cool. That's what's going on in Egypt. Thank you so much, Julie D, for sending that story in. And soon to be featured in this museum, this stolen head. This guy has the longest name, the longest, I don't know, in history, probably in history. He did it himself, though. He changed his own name. I mean, how hard is it to break a Guinness World Record if, all you have to do is go to the county courthouse? He has the longest personal name, more than 2,000 middle names. He read out his entire name, and it took him more than an hour. Lawrence Watkins originally had his name legally changed in March of 1990 to include 2,251 middle names. And he earns the Guinness World Record for the longest personal name with 2,253 unique words. At his wedding, he said it took the officiant 20 minutes to read his full name. But he attempted the feat himself for a Guinness World Records video, and it took him more than an hour. I'll start it. All right. I'm not going for the full thing, but here's how it begins. Lawrence, Alon, Alois, Aloysius, Alphage, Alun, Alared, Alwyn, Alexander, Ambi, Ambrose, Ambrosius, Ammius, Ammiot, Ammias, Anders, blah, blah, blah. to go from the A's to the B's to the C's. He said, I was always fascinated by the quirky, unusual records that some people went for, and I really wanted to be part of that scene. He said, I read the Guinness World Records book from cover to cover to see if there was a record I could beat, and the only one I had a chance at beating was adding more names than the current holder. It involved a lot of paperwork and several trips to court. But the successful name change was followed by the passing of new laws that prevented others from trying to take his record. He said, my favorite name is AZ2000, meaning I have names from A to Z, and I have 2,000 names. So there you go. Hey, you got your record. You're happy as a clam. That's what life's all about. In the Bay Area, oh, they're really trying to keep Muir Woods open. As a matter of fact, private donors are doing everything they can to keep it open during this government shutdown. This story comes out of SF Gate, and they say tour operators have donated almost $84,000 to keep Muir Woods open for another week during the government shutdown. Must See Tours, a local San Francisco tour operator, says their company, along with Explore Us, a national hospitality concessionaire, raised enough money to keep the park open through November 11th. 20 consecutive days of park operations that otherwise wouldn't have happened during the federal government shutdown. They said, we've seen how much Muir Woods means to locals, visitors, and small businesses. And the goal is to rally the community to protect one of America's most iconic natural landmarks. Every day, they said, they keep Muir Woods open is a shared win. They also benefit from this, right? I mean, the tour operators like Must See Tours, Ace Parking, Explore Us, who contributed financially to keeping Muir Woods open, can now continue running their businesses inside the park. So they can say that you still can expect the on-site ranger programs. The visitor center will be open. Muir Woods Trading Company and gift shop and cafe open as well. The $15 per person entrance fee is waived, but visitors do still need to pay for parking, and that can require an advance reservation. About $10 for a regular car, $45 for a large vehicle. You could take the Muir Woods shuttle as well. They say parks are allowed to accept donations from these businesses, these concessionaires, and they can reopen the sites if they get enough to keep them open. And the government will not reimburse those gifts. If the government reopens earlier than expected, they say donors will be refunded the balance. Otherwise, no. It costs $3,794 a day to fund park operations at Muir Woods. So they've got a GoFundMe campaign where people can go and contribute as well. They say so far they've raised $3,234. They have an $18,000 goal. Keep Muir Woods open during government shutdown 2025. So they're collecting money. One person donated $1,000. Other people, $100, $25 here. So, all right, are you ready for it? It's time for, well, actually, before we do it, let's go to the chat. Nullifidian says, I haven't been there for several decades. It really is peaceful and lovely. Cindy loves Muir Woods. So does Mindy. Incredible. Oh, talking about names. Tammy says, I only have a first and last name. I was once sent to the principal's office on the first day of school because I had no middle name. Oh, no. Hey, you know what? Not everyone has a middle name. You're not alone on that one. All right, it is time for Travel Tuesday. I am watching this show called The Last Tango in Halifax. It's on BritBox, which came free as part of my husband, what's interesting is he decided that we needed to downgrade our streaming services. And in doing so, signed up for a cheaper option, which actually includes more channels that I'm interested in, including BritBox. So I've been watching some shows from the United Kingdom and its subsidiaries. One of them is Last Tango in Halifax. So I thought, why don't we go take a little look-see to Canada and check out Halifax? Here it is. Oh, okay. This is the best thing to do in Halifax. The nightlife is big in Halifax. The city life is big in Halifax. The harborfront is one of the best things to do. So I thought, let me show you some pictures here of Halifax. This looks pretty bustling, I would say. This is not like the Halifax in the show, but here's what we've got. Hold on. I think if I take this away, you'll be able to see it. Okay, good. So this is the harbor front, the Halifax harbor front. The Halifax waterfront, an iconic destination for locals and for tourists, with spectacular views of the harbor and the city, and plenty of activities and attractions, including the Halifax Seaport Farmers Market, the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, the Boardwalk, Historic Pier 21, Immigration Museum. The waterfront open all year, and it offers its 1.5 million visitors a year the opportunity to shop and dine and explore. So that looks pretty fun. As a matter of fact, you can even go on a Halifax foodie tour. I want to sit out there and look at the water. How relaxing. So beautiful. So this is at the waterfront, clearly. You can try oysters, lobsters, iconic Halifax foods like the donair. They say the food tour is a great way to experience the city. They have expert guides offering insights into the history and the culture of the area as you sample the local food. And there's a leisurely pace that makes it accessible to most travelers. It's the Halifax Harborfront Foodie Tour. Then let's go check out some of the historic properties here as well. Look at that. Beautiful picture. Let me center it for you. I'll get it right. Oh, no matter what I do, there's white on one side. That's all right. This is the 19th century architecture, from Victorian area homes to centuries old churches. It's among the top 5 things to do in Halifax. Reaching the historic properties is really easy because you can take a bus, a ferry, or even get there by air. The Halifax Citadel, one of the most popular historical sites with more than 1 million visitors heading here every year. Here's another beautiful building. This is called the St. Paul's Church. You go check that out. Maybe even have a little picnic outside. It's one of the unique historic places to visit. St. Paul's Church, built in 1750. It's an Anglican church. For more than 250 years, a very important part of Halifax's religious and cultural life. There's a churchyard which has a memorial to the victims of the Titanic disaster. There's a monument to the victims of the Halifax explosion, which happened in 1917. And it's open every day. Look at this government house. That's cool. The government house is a grand historic residence that has served as the official residence of the Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia since 1811. The house is on a hilltop overlooking the city. It's surrounded by beautiful gardens and parklands. Inside, elegant furnishings and paintings and artifacts. They have guided tours in different seasons. The Halifax Citadel is a National Historic Site as well. And there it is. It is uh, built in the 18th century. They call it a must-see destination if you're a history buff. That's us, right? We're history buffs. The Citadel is a star-shaped fort that's been a key part of Halifax's military defense system for centuries. Explore its extensive underground tunnel network, breathtaking views of Halifax Harbor, and the iconic Martello Tower. There are several interactive exhibits and activities that'll keep visitors of all ages entertained. Then let's pop over to the Halifax Public Gardens. Oh, that's nice and relaxing. Maybe a little walk around the gardens. The city's most popular attraction, or one of them, they say, established in 1867. The gardens are in the heart of downtown Halifax. They offer you a tranquil oasis of lush blooms and winding paths and picturesque scenery. These are one of the oldest public gardens in North America. It is a National Historic Site, and it's been open since the late 19th century. It is considered one of the most relaxing things to do in Halifax. And if you hail from this area, or even if you don't, this is an interesting place to stop by, the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21. The only museum in Canada dedicated completely to the stories of immigrants. More than 200,000 people a year come by here. They have interactive exhibits, historic artifacts, photographs, and videos where you can learn about the millions of immigrants who've come through to Canada over the last century. There's a farmer's market, a seaport farmer's market, open on weekends. Ooh, that's a great place for lunch. Look at that. Whatever that is, I'm thinking it looks pretty delicious. It's in the heart of downtown Halifax. They've been in business since 1750. You get a wide selection of fresh produce, prepared foods, artisanal crafts, free admission, bring your pets. Not like we traveled with them. Maybe we did. I don't know. Halifax Donair, the official food of Halifax, is a must-try. Believed to have originated in the city in the 1970s, people flock to restaurants and food trucks to get their hands on this unique variation of the classic doner kebab. There's Alexander Keith's Brewery. Looks like they dress in the old-timey barmaid suits. That looks fun. It has been open since 1820. It is the oldest operating brewery in North America, and it offers a unique experience for visitors. They say you can take a guided tour of the brewery, sample the classic beers, including India Pale Ale and Keith's Red and Keith's Dark. It's open daily, so that looks like a fun thing to do in Halifax as well. Keith's Brewery. Then you can go shopping. You can go check out the Maritime Museum. Do we have any boaters in the group? There's the shoppers. And there's the Boat Museum. See, that looks fun to me. Go see all the different styles of boats through the years. It's a permanent exhibit at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic. You can see the CSS Acadia, the first vessel designed to survey Canada's northern waters. It is the only ship still afloat known to have survived the Halifax explosion in 1917, the only surviving ship to have served the Canadian Navy during both World Wars. Moored in Halifax Harbor, the museum ships invites visitors to learn about the life aboard, and it's one of the funnest things to do in Halifax in the winter, as a matter of fact. Then we're going out again for more beer. We're going to check out the nightlife on Argyle Street at the taverns. Pretty fun stuff. It's a bustling nightlife entertainment hub, a vibrant hotspot called the Pub District of Halifax. Perfect place to spend the evenings. Pretty fun. Speaking of shopping, Hydrastone Market is a historic shopping district in Halifax, one of the few examples of 1920s suburban development in North America designated as a National Historic Site of Canada. It is pretty quaint and cute. Look at the style of the buildings there. The area is filled with quaint boutiques, funky cafes, specialty stores, farmers market here as well. So that looks pretty fun. Here's the next item, the Art Gallery of Halifax. It's kind of interesting statue out front, I think. It is an important cultural hub in the city of Halifax, a public gallery showcasing historical and contemporary art from around the world, but focuses on art from the Canadian Maritimes. They have a permanent collection of more than 5,000 pieces, and it's considered one of the most romantic things to do in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So, there's a lot of festivals in Nova Scotia as well. So check this out. Oops. That's not what I wanted. Get rid of that. Here's the festival. That looks fun. All kinds of festivals. They've got free festivals, the Halifax Jazz Festival, the Halifax Busker Festival, the Halifax International Busker Festival. They're usually held along the waterfront, and there's a range of performances, something to entertain the whole family. Let's check out also McNabb's Island. It's kind of an off the beaten path location. Oops, here it is. Welcome to McNabb's. Great place to just walk around, check out. It is one of the most unique things to do in Halifax. It's a beautiful historic island located in Halifax Harbor. You can explore nature, learn about the area's history. You can get there by ferry, by private boat, or you could even kayak here. It's about 2 or 3 hours you might want to spend checking it out. And they say visit this one during the day when the weather is pleasant. And bring insect repellent because, there's a lot of bugs out there. The iconic Halifax Clock Tower, something to be seen as well. It is beautiful. This is a must-see destination for anyone visiting the city of Halifax. A significant piece of Halifax's history, offers visitors a chance to admire the city's architecture and learn about its past. The tower is right in the heart of Halifax's downtown area. It's about half hour that we need to check that out. Pretty cool. They say another fun thing to do is to go find the drunken lampposts. Yes, we'll do that. There's one. I see it. Halifax is they say it's one of the fun secret things to do in Halifax. They're bendy lamppost sculptures that are now an iconic symbol of Halifax and a popular tourist attraction. They can be found throughout the city with a concentration of them in the downtown area. There's no fee to see them. You just kind of have to walk around and find them. They say you can buy maps of these attractions so you can, know where you're going to look for them. That's pretty cool. The drunken lampposts. There's a lot of really cool street art in Halifax as well. You're looking at some of it right there. It is a growing street art scene with a lot of murals, some graffiti by local and international artists found throughout the city. And it's one of the best free things to go check out in Halifax. They have, and this might be a little too chilly for me, they have free skating at something called the Emera Oval. And the thought is that it's a best way to check out the winter season in Halifax. The Emera Oval is a public skating rink in the Halifax Commons Park, open to the public, offers free skating throughout the winter. The perfect thing to do in Halifax in chilly December. I don't know. You could also go canoeing or kayaking in this area. Well, it looks like a different area to me, but yeah, it's a popular activity for both visitors and locals. There are waterways around the city, one of the top outdoor things to do in Halifax. So there you go. And that is Travel Tuesday. We went to Halifax, Nova Scotia. Yeah, I think that's pretty fun. Um, I think that's different than the Halifax in West Yorkshire, England, which is where the show is based, but that's okay. We could check out Halifax, Nova Scotia. Maybe next time we'll go to the West Yorkshire town. It's all right. I just saw this pop through. Nullifidian says those lampposts aren't drunk. They're just a little tipsy. That's cute. Louise coming through with the 5. Still on high from yesterday's Dodgers celebration, writes Louise, but also grateful. That doesn't matter if we are north or south. We're all part of this after party. Absolutely. You could be a Dodgers fan. It's all right that I'm sitting in Giants country. I still love you, Louise. And as you know, in my mind, and this is going to be popular with Giants fans, as long as the team's from California, we're all good. Excellent. And thank you so much for the contribution. I so appreciate it. Really nice. Nullifidian says a bit bent out of shape of the drunken lampposts. Were they damaged or were they born that way? Blue Spark, I can imagine bent lampposts in the pub district. Yeah. Very cool. Well, you guys, thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for the contribution, Luis. Really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who participates in sending stories, including some great stories from Teacher Lori that I'll bring to you tomorrow. Julie D, thank you so much for the story about the about the Giza Museum and the grand opening, and not the stolen head. You didn't send me that one, but it's all connected, right? So thank you so much for seeing that and thinking of me and sending it my way. Thank you to Wes for the contribution to the show today. Wes throwing in another 5. Carol S with a recurring contribution. Deborah S. Wes from yesterday as well. Rhonda A coming through. You guys, I love that you want this show to continue and you fund it like this. You guys really, really make me feel like I need to keep going. So that I shall. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make it the best Tuesday that you can. And I will see you tomorrow on The Mark Thompson Show at 11 a.m. Until then, until we meet again, have a really good day. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.